I'm Starborn. Remember to be a star. You need to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. The title of tonight's show is a somewhat ominous sounding, because the title is The End is Coming. But if you wanted to shorten it to something that everybody can understand, you could also say, off with the old and on with the new. Because today we are having a full moon at 24 degrees of Leo. But before I get into that, I want to wish you a happy Valentine's Day in 2 days. And I also want to mention that today is the birthday of one of the best presidents in the United States, Abraham Lincoln. And even before he became president, he said something as a senator in Illinois that proved to be very true as he entered his presidency. And he said, "A nation divided against itself cannot stand." And so he dedicated his life to hoping that he could somehow get the nation back together during a horrible civil war. And he was assassinated and gave his life for that. But he was an Aquarian, Sun's in Aquarius today, and he was a visionary. So he had the vision and the courage to go ahead and try to right a wrong, try to get people back together. And we're living with that benefit today of his efforts, because we are a united nation, and that's great. So, what does that have to do with the end that is coming? Well, it's a full moon in Leo today, and that full moon today is at 24 degrees of Leo. But there are 5 planets, all in fixed signs, and Leo is a fixed sign, and they are in a harsh T-cross. They're challenging each other or opposing each other. And that means that since fixed signs do not budge, that there is trouble afoot. Because people do not want to, everybody wants their own way. Not everybody, but a lot of people. And so Leo rules, it rules love affairs, and it rules children, and it rules sports, and it rules the whole entertainment field, and it rules extravagance. And Leos sort of like to be out there and be the captain of the team. But that moon in Leo right now, today, is being opposed by 3 planets in Aquarius, another fixed air sign. And so the sun today is exactly opposite the full moon, and it is at 24 degrees of Aquarius, and it is conjuncting tightly Mercury, the planet of the mind, at 26 degrees in Aquarius, and then Pluto is also in the sign, and it is in earlier degrees. So these 3 planets are all opposing that moon in Leo. So people who want to move into the future, who want to move forward, who have vision of one sort or another, they really want to get going. And other people can say, hold it, I want to do it my way. Well, can you see the conflict there? And so since fixed signs don't budge, and this is an opposition of 4 planets, it can indicate that the end is coming due to some sort of separation. I think the people that are going into the future are going to do it no matter what. But all 4 of these planets are being harshly squared by a 5th planet in a fixed sign, and it is Uranus, which is at 23 degrees of Taurus today. So it's opposing the sign it rules, Aquarius, where the 3 planets are, the Sun, Mercury, and Pluto, and it is strongly opposing that full moon today in Leo, because Uranus is at 23 degrees and the full moon is at 24 degrees. Oops, nobody's going to give an inch. So the end can be coming. What would it be about? Taurus is a fixed financial sign. And so some people just really want to have their way about money. And that means that there can be some sort of a controversy with these 5 planets all dumping their frustration into the 4th fixed sign, which is Scorpio, and that's empty, but it's getting a lot of flack from other planets right now that are squaring and opposing it as well. And so since Scorpio is a fixed financial sign, it means there's money problems around for people in one way or another. And because this is an ending that is meant to be, it means that nothing is going to stop it. These fixed signs aren't budging. And there's 2 reasons why an end is coming. Well, the first reason is the 5 planets in fixed signs that aren't going to give an inch. But the second reason is even, I think, more important. And it's subtle, but it's there. Because as I was writing the script, I draw a picture of where all the planets are on the day of the show and what their geometric angles are to each other and their degrees and everything else. So I'm sort of doing the math then. And I noticed that there were 5 planets that are also at the last 10 degrees of their sign. And that means they're in the last decan of their sign, and they're not ruled by the overall ruler of the sign. They're being sub-ruled by some other planet. And because so many of them are in late degrees, 5 of them, and they're all getting ready to change signs, you know, in their stay in the sign they're in, and they move at different speeds. It's going to happen at different times, but that's the direction they're going. And so what was going on? Who are the sub-rulers of these 5 planets that are in such late degrees? Well, the first planet that I was looking at was the full moon today at 24 degrees of Leo. And since it's in the last decan of Leo, it is sub-ruled by Mars, the Mars that rules Aries. So Leos could have their mind on making new beginnings and sort of want to do it their way, and they want to win. And besides ruling children and sports and the entertainment world, and it rules love affairs, not marriage, but love affairs, and it rules extravagance. So there's a little hint that, with the sub-ruler of this moon today in Leo, that they may have their minds on a new beginning, but it's Mars that's sub-ruling it. And Mars is a planet that rules war and aggression and jealousy and greed. Oops, that's not too good on a gentle moon. Then the 2 moons in the last decan, the 2 planets in the last decan of Aquarius are the Sun, which is Leo's own ruler, and it is at the same degree, 24 degrees in Aquarius, as I explained before, and it is conjuncting Mercury at 26 degrees. These 2 planets are in the last decan of their sign too, which is sub-ruled by Venus, the Venus that rules Libra. Okay, if there's going to be an end to something, it might be a partnership, but it might also result in another new partnership. Because it's pretty good to have Venus be the sub-ruler of something, and it's the sub-ruler of Libra, where it's rules partnership and legal agreements and contracts. And then of these, I said there were 5 planets. These 4 planets are all being squared by Uranus and Taurus, as I mentioned before, and Uranus is at the 23rd degree of Taurus in the last decan of Taurus. Uranus is not only squaring the full moon, the Sun, Mercury, and Pluto, those 4 planets, but Uranus is a malefic planet. And so it rules sudden surprising change, rebellion, eccentricity. It rules volatility. That's why it's a malefic planet. You don't know what it's going to do. And it is squaring the sign it rules, Aquarius, and all the planets in Aquarius, and it is almost exactly squaring that moon, full moon in Leo today. And the 3rd decan, or the last decan that rules where Uranus is another malefic planet. It's Saturn. And so Saturn is sub-ruling Uranus. That is certainly not a good influence because they're both malefic planets. Okay, and they're squaring the moon that is sub-ruled by Mars, another malefic planet. You see, it's not too good. And so I began to think, uh-oh, what else is going on? Well, I mentioned there are 5 planets in the last decan. 4 of them are in the fixed signs. They're all having trouble anyway. But the 5th planet happens to be the strongest planet in the heavens. It's Neptune. And Neptune is in Pisces. It's at 28 degrees in that last decan. It is being somewhat sheltered and protected because the lucky north node of the moon is also at 28 degrees. And so we're looking at a planet that is very strong, but it's in the last decan of its sign. So what is the sub-ruler of Neptune? Mars. Mars again. It is Mars and Pluto. Those are the 2 rulers of Scorpio. Because Neptune rules Pisces, and Pisces is a water sign. And so Mars and Pluto are the sub-rulers of that Neptune. Mars is the sub-ruler of the moon in Leo. Saturn is the sub-ruler of Uranus in Taurus. Okay, so the picture's getting a little grim now. Underneath the surface, that's why it looks like an ending is coming. And I think that ending has something to do with financial affairs. I mean, Taurus is involved. And that Uranus being sub-ruled by Saturn, 2 malefic planets squaring other Malefic planets, People can have financial problems, so trouble is afoot. And so it can indicate various things. One of them is that somebody is already sort of out of excuses, or whatever they wanted to do, their story has come to an end. And so they can be out of excuses, or they can be out of the sort of tricks that they pulled before, and those tricks aren't working anymore. So that's going on. That could result in an ending of something. Or it can simply be that there really isn't enough money around, that there's too much debt. Remember, Scorpio doesn't have a planet in it, but it's getting hit by the other 5 planets in the fixed signs, which are all squaring and opposing it, and Scorpio rules debt. And so there can be that there's a lot of debt and not enough money around even to pay for all the new ideas and what they cost right now. Then that's why trouble is afoot. But there could also be the fact, remember that there are 2 planets in their last decan that are ruled by a good planet, and that's Venus, which is sub-ruling the Sun and Mercury in Aquarius, which is the sign of the future. I think that there can be, the reason I think that you could just think of this whole show as off with the old and on with the new, is because there can certainly be an ending of a partnership, because these planets in Aquarius, 3 of them are opposing the full moon in Leo today, and they want to move ahead. And Pluto's a very strong planet there. It's going to be there for years. And so people who are ahead, they're in upper management or the head of something, and they want to go into the future. It might be an uphill climb right now for them to do that, but the way they could do it is by ending one partnership and starting a new one. And that's what I mean by off with the old and on with the new. And so I think that an ending is inevitable right now, that it is somewhat destined to happen. It's going to happen. Nothing can change it because of the strong influence of the malefic planets on so many different planets in the last decan of their signs. All of which, these planets are all getting ready to move. And there are no retrograde planets right now except one, and it is Mars in Cancer. And so I think that we have to understand that an ending is coming. And if it doesn't happen to you, it could happen to your employer. It could happen to the leader of a country. It could happen to different large organizations or entities in the world, or even just small ones. So I'm sorry, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know who or what is ending, but I can pretty much guarantee you that an ending is coming. And sorry to have to say that, but that's the way it's looking this week. And it doesn't mean that once the week is over that you don't have to worry about the ending. It is somewhat inevitable that this ending is going to occur. So that's why I think it's tied to financial affairs one way or another. Anywhere in the world, that's what it's tied to. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Aries. Aries, for you, you're somewhat saved in the sense that you have Venus in your sign. Lucky you. And it is actually trining the full moon today in Leo. And so that's good, because that means that you may be able to start something with a new idea of yours, or you could be wanting to go in a new direction. That's a really good idea, Aries. And you may be able to get people who are willing to take a gamble on a new idea of yours, or may even be, Leo rules being an entrepreneur. They may encourage you to start something new because maybe they want to come along for the ride and help you out in one way or another. That would work out just fine for you, Aries. And it would not happen quickly, but what it means is that with your positive attitude from having Venus in your sign, you could be preparing for a new start by the end of March, which is just next month. And it is because that ending that could be occurring now could encourage you to make a new start. You'd be in the right frame of mind to do that right now, and the solar eclipse the end of March is going to be in your sign at 9 degrees of Aries. It's really going to help you out. And so I'm not saying that an ending isn't coming your way, Aries. It certainly could. The aspects are such that an ending is inevitable. But it might do you a lot of good, actually. And you might be in a frame of mind to turn away from the old and towards something new and be ready for it by the time the solar eclipse comes in your sign, and that would work. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Taurus. Taurus, I think in a way you can be feeling as if you're sort of under a cloud. And that is because Uranus, which is a malefic planet in your sign, is strongly squaring the full moon in Leo today. So you're not agreeing with everybody, and they aren't agreeing with you either. And then it is also squaring its own sign with 3 planets in Aquarius. And because Uranus is so late in your sign at 23 degrees, it's being sun-ruled by Saturn, another malefic planet. That's what I meant by I think you're under a cloud, Taurus. And I would say that you can't get out of it, that you will have to face a financial situation that didn't meet your expectations. Okay? It's not meeting your expectations for one reason or another. Maybe expenses were too high. Leo rules extravagance, and it's squaring your sun. Or maybe people just have more ideas about sticking with their future plans and not so much with sticking with the status quo. Or maybe they can't afford it, or else you can't afford it. I don't know. But you could be feeling as if you're under a cloud right now, and you can also be feeling as if there isn't enough money around, and I think you'd be right about that. And it may be because if your lifestyle has gotten extravagant lately, well then the bills are due. And also, guess what, Taurus? The taxes are due. And your sign rules investments, and some value of investments could be falling, which would reduce your income. That's what I mean by I think you're under a cloud. So I think that Taurus, I think if I were you, I would slow way down, and realize that you probably are going to have to end some things. You might want to end a partnership. You might want to end something that's just gotten too expensive for you. You might want to sort of get out of something that's expensive and get into something less expensive. Or else you're just a little bit worried about your bills. And you should be. There's no support for your sign. There's nothing in Virgo, and there's nothing in Capricorn. And so, and you've got plenty squaring squaring your sun sign. So I would say, Taurus, try not to do anything too fast. Remember, Uranus is in your sign, and it's a planet of volatility and sudden surprising change. And Taurus doesn't like to react to things like that. Taurus is steady on. But this is not a time when you can have it all your own way. And in fact, financial situations could change. If they're not changing for you, Taurus, well, I think they are changing for you, but it could be your employer just can't afford things. And so that'll affect you in one way or another. So I would suggest that you be very careful what you're doing right now. And if I were you, I would let go of some of the frills and the fancy stuff in your life and let them go for now. And then you wouldn't have bills connected to that. And if you lived a simpler lifestyle right now, or if you even retired right now, that you know, everything costs money, including jobs. If you have a job, it's going to cost you money. And this is a time when you need to cut back, so I hope you do. I don't think you'll have a choice. I think you'll have to cut back on some financial situations that are not working out the way you'd hoped. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Gemini. This is a time, Gemini, when those 3 planets in Aquarius are going to do you a lot of good, because one of them is your ruler, Mercury. And so the sun is conjuncting Mercury today in Aquarius. It's in the last decan, and that means that the sun and Mercury are sub-ruled by the Venus that rules Libra, and also trines your sun, since yours is an air sign as well. And so Pluto is also in Aquarius. All 3 planets are trining your sun, Gemini, and since one of them is your ruler, I think that you may actually hear some news. It could come about quickly, or it could be somewhat surprising. It could involve something part-time. Jupiter is direct in your sign, and the planets in Aquarius are direct too. There's nothing going to hold you up, Gemini, if you want to start doing something that is future-oriented, because Aquarius does rule the future, and there could be some sort of idea of a new partnership, even if it's part-time. It could be a new partnership or a new legal contract coming your way. You might have to give up something else that you've grown used to, you know, off with the old and on with the new. but it would do you a world of good right now, Gemini. So I hope you listen if there are any new offers out there, or if you have new ideas and you're looking around for a partner to help you out with them, you could probably find it. And it could all start just small in your neighborhood or something, but it could work out pretty well right now. And so I would give that a try, or at least give it a thought. Look toward tomorrow, Gemini. Not the past, but the future. It's calling. It's going to knock on your door, either right now or very soon. So good luck. And remember, a new partnership is on your horizon somewhere, and I hope you welcome it with open arms, even if it's just a part-time one. I think you'll enjoy it. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Cancer. Well, remember I said there's only one planet that is retrograde right now. All the others are direct, but that one planet is in your sign, Cancer. It is Mars, which is retrograde, and it is squaring the sign it rules, Aries, and Venus is in Aries. And so your love life may not be running too smoothly right now, Cancer, because Mars is squaring Venus. Well, that's not too good for anybody. But Mars is the ruler of two signs, and it also rules Scorpio. And so that Mars in your sign is trining the sign of Scorpio, which has taken a pretty bad hit from 5 planets in fixed signs that are all squaring and opposing it. But your sign is also being trined by wonderful planets in Pisces. Saturn, which is there, and it's a malefic planet, and so is Mars, but they are trining your sun, giving you additional strength and stamina, Cancer, and determination. And it might be that you have to work a little harder at something right now, particularly since Mars is retrograde, but it might do you a world of good because it could help you make a dream come true, or it could help you further your fondest desires or wishes, because that's what Pisces rules as well. And that is because Neptune and the lucky north node of the moon, as well as Saturn, are trining your sun. They're all in Pisces. And so since the last decan of Pisces is subruled by the Mars and Pluto that rules Scorpio, and your sign is trining Scorpio, and it's subruling the strongest planet in the heavens, Neptune, which is trining your sun. Oddly enough, sort of in the throes of despair, or getting tired from too much work, or being sort of worried about a home or a family or a property manager. I don't mean manager, I mean some problem dealing with property or family. I still think that since your sign rules moving, if you wanted to make some precious dream come true behind the scenes, there would be additional money to do that. And if you have finally figured out that you're in the wrong place and you do need to move, doesn't mean you need to move at the moment, but I would get on it if I were you, Cancer. And Mars will give you the energy, and Saturn will give you the stamina, and because Neptune is the strongest planet in the heavens and subruled by the Mars and Pluto that rule Scorpio, it indicates there would be more money coming your way to do that, to make a move, to get out of a situation that is sort of cramping your style and that you are not happy in. And it could be that you just realize that you're in the wrong place and you need to make a move to somewhere that is more desirable for you. So there could be a new partnership around, and there certainly could be a new home. You might be moving back to an old neighborhood because Jupiter is in Gemini right behind your sun sign, and that's a nice place to have it. It means few, if any, enemies behind the scenes. But Gemini rules neighborhoods, and it rules easy transitional change. So you see, Cancer, you've got a real heavy-duty planet in your sign, and it's retrograde, meaning that the status quo is not going to hold. And you might have realized you've made a mistake. And I think you're going to be able to go in a direction that would make you happier. And you might end up in a place that you're already familiar with, maybe close to where you grew up as a child. And that, too, could make you more emotionally secure. So I advise you to do that, Cancer. It's a real good time to do that. All right, what does it mean to Leo? Well, Leo, the full moon is in your sign today at 24 degrees. It's really taken a hit from the 5 planets that are all in the fixed signs right now. So, Leo, an end is coming for you. And think of it as off with the old and on with the new. I hope you think like that, because the future is on your doorstep, Leo. You could not close the door and pretend it isn't there. It is there. And that is because the moon in your sign is being subruled by Mars. But it's the Mars that rules Aries, meaning you could be very restless and want to make a new beginning. And there is a solar eclipse the end of March that's going to trine your sun. I would think about that some more, Leo. That's a very good idea. But today, the sun is exactly, which is your own ruler, is exactly opposing the moon in your sign. Mercury is there at the same time, and Pluto is in Aquarius as well, and that is the sign of the future. So other people have their mind on the future, on doing new things, or being with new partners, and they're not interested in that as far as you're concerned, Leo. That's why it's a really good idea for you to realize that the future's calling you. And because the future is certainly calling them, and they're not including you in it, in their plans. So you just have to be realistic about that. We can't have it all our own way all the time. And your sign rules extravagance, Leo. I think you got a little financial problem that you need to address. And that is because Uranus, a malefic planet being subruled by Saturn, another malefic planet, meaning everybody has got to take a look at the money a whole lot more closely, because if an end is coming and Taurus rules the New York Stock Exchange, there's a whole lot of people that could see the value of their investments drop. And that would really have an effect on you, Leo, and on the extravagant lifestyle that you like. So you're going to have to be really careful right now. I'm sure that an ending is coming in your life. And Leo, it's just, you could take a rest right now. You could have been too busy, and you could feel sort of like just sitting back and relaxing. I think that's a good idea. And that is because other people may not be knocking on your door as much as they used to, but that is just going to give you a chance to have a little more privacy and get a little bit more rest and plan for a new beginning that can be coming up as early as the end of March, which is because that solar eclipse in Aries is going to trine your sun. So I think that an ending is definitely coming for you from the pressure of these 5 planets in fixed signs, many of which are being subruled by malefic planets, including the moon in your own sign, which is being subruled by Mars. And so many planets in Aquarius opposing your sun. You will have to make a change in your lifestyle. Certainly, you're going to have to reduce your budget a little bit, or taxes are coming. You might owe more taxes, but you're going to you got to get out of debt if you're in it, Leo. And sooner the better, because an ending is coming. And the ending is to the good old days. They're not around anymore. It doesn't mean your life is going wrong, completely wrong. It means you have to adjust to things being different in your future. And people will change. Same people are not all going to be in your future. They're headed out in a different direction. But you can start something new too under that solar eclipse the end of March. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Virgo. Well, there aren't any planets in your sign or in Capricorn, 2 earth signs, but you do have a planet, a very strong planet right now that is under siege, but it is at least trining your sun, Virgo. And it is Uranus at 23 degrees in Taurus, which is being, since in the last decan of Taurus, is being subruled by Saturn, another malefic planet, and it is squaring 4 other planets in fixed signs, the full moon in Leo and the 3 planets in Aquarius. So people's financial problems, including the problem of debt or extravagance or overextension, thinking that the good times can roll on forever, that's just not going to happen. The end is coming. It doesn't mean that the whole world is falling apart, but if people have financial problems now, they are due to get worse. And so people have to focus on that. Your sign rules the whole healthcare field. There can be a little overhaul there this year, Virgo, because there are 2 eclipses in your sign and a new moon. And so your life is due to change as well. And so since Uranus is in Taurus, but it's trining your sun, that means that possibly you could look over all of your financial affairs and get them in better shape. And I would suggest that you sit down and quietly analyze the current financial climate in the world, Virgo, and related to your job and related to where you live and how you spend your money, your lifestyle, and take a real look at what you can afford and what else is falling apart. And I would say you need to sort of streamline your lifestyle a little bit down to something that is much simpler and less costly. And if you have any health problems, you got to get them fixed, Virgo. You have to pay attention to that. Now, your sign rules common sense. And just using common sense, simple things, could really improve your health right now. And they don't even cost a lot of money. You just have to do that instead of what else you've been spending your money on. So I hope that you do that. And if you just try to improve your health this year, I think that will be a real plus for you, a real step up. Because I don't necessarily think that your finances are in bad shape, but your employers could be. Or your investments could be affected. Certainly, everyone's investments can be affected by the fact that an end is coming. Because Taurus rules the New York Stock Exchange. So people, you really have to, and there are people that are deeply in debt and they don't look at all. And I don't think a Virgo is deeply in debt, but it wouldn't hurt you to cut back on your spending and simplify your lifestyle and improve your health. That way you're going to be much better prepared for all the eclipses that are hitting your sign this year, so good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, your ruler, Venus, is actually sub-ruling 2 strong planets in Aquarius. And there are actually 3 planets in Aquarius that are all trining your sun. So the sun is conjuncting Mercury. They're being sub-ruled by Venus, your own ruler. And then Pluto is in Aquarius as well. And they're all trining your sun. And the good news doesn't stop there, Libra, because Jupiter is in Gemini is also trining your sun. And so, Libra, I think you're going to have sort of the chance of a lifetime, perhaps to form a new partnership. And remember, the end is coming. It's inevitable. It can't be stopped. It'll happen. But it could be the ending to an old partnership that you've outgrown, or that is sort of boring, or that doesn't mean anything to you because you're going in a different direction in your future. And I would say that even if you don't think you're going into the future at this moment, Libra, there's going to be some really enlightened people that are going to want you to join them, and that will change your future. And some of them could be people that turn out to be very good partners of yours in the future. And also, you can make an easy transitional change. You could move to another neighborhood. You could try a part-time or temporary job. And if you don't get paid for it, if it's a volunteer effort, you could meet some great people that would make good new partners. Your ruler, Venus, is working on your behalf. And so are the 3 planets in Aquarius trining your sun, and Jupiter in Gemini that's trining your sun. You can't go wrong right now unless you are sort of sticking to yesterday, sticking to the past. That's not going to work for you. Venus is in Aries. It's your own ruler, but it's opposing your sun sign, meaning that there's going to be a separation. And I mean, you've got to look toward tomorrow, Libra. And if you do, and you listen to people who are coming at you and sort of giving you new ideas or wanting to join you in some effort that you're working on, I would say yes to all of that, Libra. You have nothing to lose and a lot to gain. But if you're still mourning over something in the past that didn't work out or hasn't worked out yet, I would say shelve it, Libra. Leave that alone. If your own ruler is opposing your sun, that's not too good. Oppositions represent separations. You could be separated from somebody that you love right now. But it could be because they want to go off and make a new beginning. Maybe you should just encourage them. Because I think they're going to do it anyway. There's a solar eclipse in Aries, and that'll oppose your sun. That's why I'm saying it's better if you just sort of settle down and make some new friends and try things on in a temporary way, because I think you're going to be real successful at that. So give it a try. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, you may feel like you're getting dumped on right now in all directions. You would be right about that, Scorpio. And so the outcome of that may be that you are assessing rather keenly. Your sign rules psychology. You can usually understand what's behind people's actions or where they're really coming from. And you may think that there is somebody under the full moon in Leo, which squares your sun, that somebody that wants to, control you or call the shots or have you do everything their way. Well, that doesn't, yours is a fixed sign too. That isn't the way to cooperate with fixed signs, because they don't budge. And then you could be almost refusing to look at the future and be trying to just repeat the past. That is not the pathway to go on, Scorpio, because the Sun, Mercury, and one of your own rulers, Pluto, is in Aquarius, squaring your Sun as well. And then Uranus, this is what's really going to hurt you, Scorpio. If you have any debt, you are going to have to pay it off. Or if taxes are high, you got to pay attention and just throw in the towel and pay them, Scorpio, because you won't be able to get out of it. And so I think the end is coming for something for you. And it could have something to do with a financial matter, because Uranus in Taurus is opposing your Sun. But it's so late in the sign at 23 degrees, it's being subruled by Saturn, another malefic planet. But the moon in Leo that's squaring your Sun is being subruled by Mars, another malefic planet. You're a little bit behind the 8 ball right now, Scorpio. And so something's got to change. And if there is a financial matter that's been sort of hung up for a long time that maybe you haven't wanted to face, or you don't want to deal with it, or it's not even in your hands, but you can't change it either, and it's not to your liking, I would say try to end it as quickly as possible. Win, lose, or draw, try to end it. And that will free you to go on. And it's the freedom to move on into the future that is so important for you. Pluto is your own ruler, and it's in Aquarius. It's going to stay there for years. It'll be squaring your Sun the whole time. And fixed signs don't like to budge. But the future can be calling you. And thank heavens, you have some very good planets trining your Sun. And 2 of them are malefic planets working in your favor. Mars is in Cancer right now. It's retrograde. You may realize that you have to make a move because you may have made a mistake in the past, moving to the wrong place, thinking it would be all right, but it hasn't worked out. And so that's why, because Mars is retrograde. But that Mars is your ruler. It's in Cancer, ruling the home and the family and real estate and the last half of life. And it's trining your Sun, Scorpio. So try not to look at everything that's going wrong around financial matters that deal with people in the past, and take a look at what you've got going for you instead. That's a smart way to go. You can't, if you're dealing with crooks somewhere, you can't change them, but you could get away from them. And your sign rules survival. And so, and the crooks always have great excuses. Or they play little tricks, they can play little tricks on you that mislead you. Or else when it's time to come up with the money, they always say they don't have it. And so, Saturn, another malefic planet, and Neptune, the strongest planet in the heavens, and the lucky north node of the moon in Pisces are all trining your Sun. And that Neptune is being subruled by your own rulers, Scorpio, Mars and Pluto. And they're trining your Sun. People don't realize, in these smaller things that are going on, that are pretty powerful, though. They're happening to the strongest planet in the heavens, Neptune. And Mars in Cancer is trining your Sun. All the planets in Pisces are trining your Sun, and they're strong. Okay, there's nothing weak about what's going on in Cancer and Pisces. If there aren't any planets in your sign, you have a heck of a lot of strong backup. It's important that you use it now, because you need to use it. You've got too many planets squaring and opposing your Sun. So look behind the scenes. Pisces rules things behind the scenes. It rules dreams. It rules hopes and wishes. And it rules a lucky friend. The North Node is conjuncting Neptune and trining your Sun. In the background of your life, there's somebody that would certainly make your dreams come true, Scorpio. I don't know where they are or who they are, but take a look behind the scenes. Realize that you might have made a mistake in a family or a moving situation and move somewhere else. Preferably back to a more comfortable neighborhood, perhaps where you grew up, that will give you more emotional security. Fixed signs, you know, they never admit that they're suffering. But they do. They all suffer, just like anybody else. And this is a time for you to sit down and say, okay, what don't I like and how can I change it? Because you've got some great planets that are backing you up. And particularly, they're backing up how you really feel. And so you need to be honest with yourself about what is most important to you in your heart. And you need to do something about that, because there's other situations that aren't too favorable and you can't do anything about them. An ending is inevitable. It's going to happen. But at the same time, what it really means is off with the old and on with the new. Well, since fixed signs don't budge, they stick with the old for a long time. Well, that's no good. Not with your own ruler, Pluto, in the sign of the future, Aquarius. You have to go into the future. Let go of the past, Scorpio. And look for something that will fulfill a dream or a hope and a lucky friend of yours behind the scenes. It'll happen. Your sign rules survival. So right or wrong about the money, whether you win or lose about the money, you have to survive. And there's no better sign that knows how to do that than yours. So I hope you do. Just realize you have strengths behind the scenes and use them to your advantage while you can. Your happiness is at stake. I would do that if I were you. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, yours is a fire sign, and the full moon is in a fire sign today, Leo, and so the moon in Leo today is trining your sun, and an added bonus, Sagittarius, is that Venus is in Aries, also trining your sun. Okay, so even if an end is coming and it's inevitable and it's going to happen and nothing can change it, at the same time, I would say you're sitting in a sort of a sweet spot or a lucky spot, Sagittarius, with Venus in Aries trining your sun, meaning that if you had recently started something new or you're about to start something new, it's going to be to your advantage, and I'd stick with that if I were you. And then the full moon in Leo is trining your sun. It is getting sort of beat up and challenged a lot, but it's still trining your sun, meaning that you could know a sort of a glamorous person, or a person who is a leader in one way or another. I don't know if they're a big leader or a small leader, or just somebody that is sort of popular. And they could be thinking well of you too, or they may do you a favor, Sagittarius, which would be very nice. Doors could open. And since it's a full moon and the moon rules women, it could be a woman that helps you open a door to a new beginning. And, I'd give that a try, Sagittarius. Jupiter in Gemini is opposing your sun sign. So something that you want to have happen in an easy transitional change is proving to be harder than you thought. Or you're not ready for it yet. Or you're thinking it is sort of out in the distance. Well, no matter where it is, as long as it's not in the past and you're looking at the future, you're going to do fine, Sagittarius. All the planets in Aquarius sextile your sun. And so, you're going to be able, it's just that this is not a very good time for you to sit around and dream your life away. The planets in Pisces are squaring your sun, and they're very strong. And so you really need to get a little bit more practical about what you want to accomplish in a new beginning, and then you have to take those preparatory steps and do some extra work at getting prepared for a new beginning. If you do that, it's aspected to work. Get ready for that. And if other people are saying, oh, woe is me, things are going wrong, this is a better time for you to concentrate on your future and let them handle their own problems. They made them, and so nobody can fix them except them. So give them some space and let them do that, and just get ready to make a new beginning yourself while the stars are with you right now. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, Capricorn, the problem is that you could be not having problems yourself, but family members could have problems right now. Or where you live. There could be a problem with the real estate, or maybe just the taxes on wherever you live could be going up if you own property. And the reason why is because Mars is retrograde. It's the only retrograde planet right now, and it's in Cancer, which rules the home and the family and real estate and endings, and it is opposing your sun, Capricorn. And so it isn't so much that I think you have a problem, but you can know other people that you are connected to or related to in one way or another, and they're connected to family problems. And so if they were coming to you for advice and money and help and really leaning on you, you should really sort of step back and let them solve their own problems, Capricorn. And the reason why is that there's not a lot of support in the earth signs. And in fact, there's only one planet in an earth sign. It is trining your sun. It's Uranus in Taurus, but it is just about as beleaguered as it could ever be right now and not able to help you very much. It's not hurting you, but it's not able to help you very much either. And so if you were thinking that money was going to be the answer to somebody else's problem or to your problem, that is not true. The holes that people have dug themselves into by being extravagant, which is what Leo rules, or by being too spendy on the good life, and so they have a lot of debt, those are problems they made themselves. That's not really the way a Capricorn works. A Capricorn is just like Virgo. They sort of know where every penny is. And they're careful with their money because they know they're going to live a long time. They've got to have enough money to live to the end of life, which could be many years away. And so, Capricorn, you need to tactfully and quietly step back from any family problems that other people want to sort of land on your lap and get you to solve. Well, you didn't make them, and this is not the time for you to walk into that. It doesn't mean you don't love those people or you don't care about those people. But on the other hand, maybe they've been doing something a little funny and want you to cover for them. And that's not going to work anymore. Remember, excuses are not going to work. Little tricks that people have pulled in the past or pressure that they've put on other people, sort of meanly, those things are not going to work anymore. And neither is a lot of money for new projects. Besides, it isn't money that makes the idea sell, it's the idea. Somebody has to develop a product, or they have to have a good idea. They have to have a team that can make that idea work. They have to be able to produce something. Very good ideas can start at home. I mean, you could start something in your kitchen sink as you mix up things. Maybe that's great. But actually, Capricorn is generally pretty practical. They're very good at administration. You should sort of stick to business right now. Your business, Capricorn, and nobody else's. Because an ending is inevitable right now. It's meant to be. It's going to happen. And nothing's going to change it. And it's connected to finances. And you might actually be left out of it unless somebody is trying to sucker you out of some money. And I would not let them do that right now, Capricorn. That is not a good idea. Stay quiet and stay away. And you too could suffer from the value of your investments falling right now. And so you just have to sort of sit tight. And that's enough for now. And if somebody is trying to pigeonhole you to solve something that they were not all completely honest with, you've got to withdraw. Let them solve their own problems. Okay? What does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius. Aquarius, you're sort of in the driver's seat, but it could be a bumpy ride right now, I'm sorry to say. And the reason why is that today there's a full moon in Leo at 24 degrees, and it is being exactly opposed by the sun in your sign, also at 24 degrees. And Mercury is conjuncting the sun in your sign, and it's at 26 degrees. It's a pretty tight conjunction, which means your head could be full of very good ideas right now, Aquarius, and you could be certainly looking toward the future and generating some conversation about that or making plans for that. That would work out really well, and you could even get the attention of somebody who's pretty high up in management in a large corporation, government agency, or institution, because Pluto is in your sign as well and will be there for years. Okay, so these three planets in your sign are opposing that full moon in Leo, which means that there can be a separation in a relationship of yours. It could be with a child, it could be that your favorite sports team loses, or it could be that if you've been gambling with anything, you would lose the gamble right now. But it's more likely that somebody else has been doing that, and they're losing the gamble. And you're not so as concerned about that as you may have been in the past, because you're headed toward the future anyway. And Jupiter in Gemini is trining the 3 planets in your sign, all of which are direct. All 4 of those planets are direct. And the good news, Aquarius, which not a lot of people can see, okay? It's really sort of concealed right now, is that you have 2 planets in your sign that are in the last decan of their sign. That's the Sun and Mercury that are conjuncting and being tried by Jupiter. But because they're in the last decan of the sign, they are being sub-ruled by Venus, the Venus that rules Libra. You really should keep your eyes on the future, because there is a new partnership that could be coming to you. And it could, my feeling, Aquarius, is that they've already thought about that. Whoever might be wanting to be a new partner of yours, they've already thought about it. And they may not be thinking in terms of, signing on the dotted line in a contract, although they might. But what they're thinking of is that you would make a good partner. See, their thoughts are a little bit more about your talents, or your initiative, or your bright ideas. That's what they're thinking about. And they're thinking, oh, this person, you Aquarius, should be a part of their team, or that you should be a great partner for them, and or for any future project. And so they could be thinking that about you, but you could be thinking that about somebody as well, since Venus is actually sub-ruling the Sun in your sign and Mercury. See, Mercury is a planet of the mind, thinking and talking and communicating. And Jupiter is in Gemini. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. So you've got a new partnership coming your way. And so if something ends, Aquarius, it's going to be a relief for you. It's fine. It's part of the past. And this whole thing means off with the old and on with the new. And you are just going to be the right person in the right place, despite everything else that's going on that looks like it's going wrong. And so if there is an ending in your life, Aquarius, you should applaud that. It's time. It might even be past time. And you're looking at a new partnership somewhere. And it's just that you can't have one foot in the past and another foot in the future. And since fixed signs don't budge, maybe you need to think a little bit about that more. You can't be in the past and still be going into the future. You're going to have to leave the past behind. It doesn't mean that you can't repeat some things that you used to do in the past, but certainly not with the same people. Going into the future means new partnership, new things. And you are more than ready for it. That is the pathway to your future, Aquarius, so good luck and congratulations. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces. This is a time, Pisces, when the first thing you should be thankful for is that the strongest planet in the heavens is Neptune, and it's in your sign at 28 degrees. It's being conjuncted probably for the only time that this will ever happen for many, many years, or only time in your lifetime, by the lucky north node of the moon. They're both at 28 degrees. And either, Pisces, you are going to be a great friend to somebody else, or you're going to meet somebody who's going to be a great friend to you. Because the north node is a lucky friend. It's sitting right on top of your ruler, Neptune. And Neptune is in such late degrees of your sign, it's being sub-ruled by Mars and Pluto. The Mars and Pluto that rules Scorpio, which trines your sun, and rules money coming in from other sources. So you may be looking at some more money coming in, Pisces. And it might be sort of coming in the back door. It might be money that comes because, it's sort of the way the tax laws might have changed, or it is a way that you realize that you're finally free of some expenses that you had in the past, but you don't have those anymore. and so you have more money to spend on your future. Or it could be that a lucky friend is inspiring you to do something sort of charitable. Your sign rules charity. And so this is sort of a magic moment for you, Pisces, where if you think that there's somebody around that really wants to be with you, and you know, you're sort of sitting on the fence and sort of deciding, oh, I don't know, make up your mind, Pisces, and go for it. It's a golden opportunity, and it's going to be a golden new friend of yours. And in one way or another, you will be able to help them in a way that they're not describing to you, but that's all right. Pisces sort of have eyes in the back of their head. They can feel when somebody is hurting, but they don't always point to that. But all the water signs are healing, and Pisces understands things that aren't said, and they can they notice a lot more than people think they notice. And this is a golden moment for you, because Neptune's the strongest planet in the heavens. It's being sub-ruled by two rulers that rule a financial sign that trines your sun anyway, and Mars is trining Saturn in your sign. Mars in Cancer is trining Saturn in your sign. If you've made a mistake around, because Mars is retrograde, about a move or a family matter or something like that in your past, this is certainly the time to turn around and admit that and go in a new direction, one that you've been dreaming about for a long time. You don't have to move fast, Pisces. You just have to realize that the future is in front of you, not behind you. For everybody, the future is in front of us. That's why I can say that an ending is coming, and I hope I've explained why I think that way, but at the same time, it does mean off with the old and on with the new. Because the sign that has the most planets in it is Aquarius. They have 3 planets there, all trined and backed up by Jupiter and Gemini, and they're all direct. The future's calling everyone, even you, Pisces. So I hope you are not so timid, and you go forward. And if you want to make a dream come true, I think you're going to get some help from a lucky friend to do that. So I wouldn't waste any more time, Pisces. Just go for it. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in, and thank you very much for the new subscribers, and I hope you tell your friends about my show, STARBORN, which you can see on the Karen Campbell channel on YouTube. So thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you right here next week. And Happy Valentine's Day. Bye.